No. Hi. Just wanted to do a quick video based on a few comments and conversations I've had in the last couple of days. I'll just hang on a second and see if anyone is around is going to join me. It's Maya.
Do you post this after you filmed it?
No, it's live.
Or do you discard it once you finished with it?
Keep it. Why? It's not Instagram. Hi, Jackie. Jackie, I can't believe you asked me that question before about if you can read some of the manual out. Of course you can. You don't need to ask me that, you plonker. Say hi if you're there. No, don't, please. Say hi if you're there, so I can see who's around.
Press on it.
Oh.
And you can look.
No, it doesn't. Okay.
Oh, it doesn't.
So I just wanted to share something quickly with you. Okay. Over the last few days, I see it in comments. I'm in various other groups, and I see people's comments. And usually I don't respond to them, but sometimes I do. If I think it will help. Hi. Oh, it's okay. Jackie, you come up as a top fan. I just love it. Top fan. And there are no exceptions to the rules. And what I mean by that is, not really rules, but when I'm talking about the three principles, there are no exceptions to that. So when I'm talking about the idea that your thoughts are creating your experience every second, every minute, every hour of every day, no matter what is going on, there's no exceptions to that, because it's human nature. So if you are a human, that is how it works. It might be the same for dogs and cats. I don't know, because I'm not one. I don't know much about how their brains work and how their minds work. But if you are human, then 100% of the time you are experiencing your life through your thinking. So what does that mean? Well, it means really in a way that although we're all human and all similar in a lot of ways in that we work the same way, we're all experiencing our life very, very differently. And I hear a lot of people saying things like, this causes me anxiety. My hormone levels cause me anxiety. My thyroid causes me anxiety. As in that it's like the diagnosis of some sort of illness that then creates the anxiety. And the reason I'm telling you that that's not how it works is not to say, you know, I'm cleverer than you and that's not how it works. And you don't even need to believe me. And, but the reason I'm saying it is because it must be quite a difficult place to be, to have a diagnosis of some description that you then feel there's no way out of. But I'm telling you actually that there is a way out of anxiety in any situation in your life. Yeah? Yeah, of course. Someone's at the door. Your dad's around there, just shout your dad. And
Dad?
so, for example, with thyroid is one that's really common, that a lot of people say they've got an overactive or underactive thyroid, it causes anxiety, so there's nothing they can do about it. Well, half of my family have got thyroid issues, my mum included, and anxiety is not something she's ever experienced with it. Now, I'm not saying that others don't, but even to two people with an overactive thyroid or an underactive thyroid are still not going to experience that experience of having thyroid issues in the same way, because they're experiencing their own issues with their thyroid through their thinking. And it's the same even with a disability or an illness or anything. Like, two people with the same on paper disability are not going to experience that disability in the same way and still have access to that innate well-being. Yes, we sometimes have to make adjustments. So if you had an overactive thyroid, for example, you're going to, get to a place where then they treat you, or if you have an underactive thyroid, I think it's thyroxine that my mum takes, they have to replace the thyroid, the hormone of the thyroid, because she needs it to function and to live. So adjustments have to be made, yet that doesn't take away from her innate well-being. That we can be innately well no matter what we're faced with. And the reason, again, I'm saying this is because so many people lose hope based on some diagnosis or illness that they have that they believe causes anxiety. It doesn't work like that. Like, nothing causes anxiety. We have anxious feelings from having anxious thinking. It might be that something we have creates us to have a lot of thoughts. So if you have an overactive thyroid, that may fill you with all sorts of thoughts about why and what ifs and all of that stuff. And that's a lot of anxious thinking. So it would make sense in that people that have some sort of diagnosis may then also suffer with anxiety because they have a lot of thought about what that means, and that the fact that they have to replace their hormones and all of that stuff, and that's what creates the feelings. And there's no exceptions to that. No exceptions. It's interesting because I had a coaching session with Dr. Bill Pettit last week, and I'm having a few sessions with him. And he did a podcast a long time ago which actually said, or alluded to the fact that, and lots of people I know have listened to this, that having issues with your thyroid is an exception and that it can create you to be anxious. And I'd always struggled with it because when I'd experienced more about this understanding, I thought, well, how can you have an exception? Because, Sydney Banks is saying that there's no exceptions, and I'm starting to see for myself that there's no exception. And I asked him about it last week and he said, oh, I wouldn't say that now. That was a long time ago. So again, we see things. So I'm not asking people who maybe at the moment feel really stuck in this idea that something is causing their anxiety. I'm not asking you to suddenly just believe what I say and change the way you think, because it doesn't work like that. All I'm saying is just be open to the idea that it might be your thoughts creating it. And you will continue to see. I used to always get more anxious around my period, and I would always believe that it was my hormones creating the anxiety around that time of the month. And yet through exploring these principles, I still do sometimes get anxious around that time of the month, but not always, because I don't have as much thought around that time of the month. I don't have as much, I used to monitor how many days it was before I was due on my period, and how many, and I'd have all these ideas of how I was going to be, and lo and behold, I would be like that. Whereas now I don't give it the same amount of thought, and so those feelings don't occur as much. They do sometimes when maybe I am giving it thought, or something reminds me, or I go down that road of thinking about it, but it's not causing it. I needed to hear this, as I think I'm special, as I have different issues. Becky is someone that is in my private group. Becky, you are special, my lovely. But that doesn't mean that you are destined to stay anxious for the rest of your life, because it's nothing to do with your specialness. Yeah? Health issues. Yeah, okay, so we all will have none of us are going to get away without having any health issues at any point. Like, it's going to happen to all of us at some point. But it's how we experience it and how much energy and thought we give to it and how much anxious thinking we have around it that creates the feelings of anxiety. So health issues do not cause anxiety. They may sit alongside if you have a lot of anxious thinking about your illness. I don't understand, Becky. I don't quite understand it though, because of you're dizzy, you're going to get anxious. Not necessarily. Do you think that astronauts going up into space, where they have to train because they go in those bubble things and train going around and around and around at that G-force, whatever it is, I don't know, but I've seen it on telly, and they go around in this machine to learn to deal with the extreme dizziness that would make somebody very sick? Does that mean that every astronaut going up to space is anxious? I doubt it. I doubt that they are, because they probably wouldn't want to go. Can you imagine feeling really anxious and then go into space? Woohoo! Mind-blowing. So they're probably not anxious. The dizziness does not cause anxiety. Your questioning of why you're dizzy and the discomfort of the fact that you don't like feeling dizzy, and then you start to have worrying thoughts about, why am I dizzy? What is it? What if it gets worse? What if I fall over? What if I pass out? That's what's creating the feelings of anxiety, that anxious thinking around the dizziness. Yeah, people have vertigo, don't they, where they have imbalance in their ears and they can be dizzy all the time, or very frequently. Doesn't necessarily mean they'll be anxious with it. Some people might, because they might not like having that, and they might worry about it and they may question it. But some of them will just have a diagnosis of vertigo and just get on with it and think that it is what it is, and they won't be anxious. So there's no guarantee of being anxious with certain illnesses, because, again, it comes down to how you experience it. So I hope that helps. So I just wanted to just share that, because I've seen it a lot in the last couple of days around people in a way, writing themselves off that they have a certain thing or a certain illness so they can't get past anxiety. And it's just absolutely not true, because there are no exceptions to that. There are none whatsoever. This child is still in her pyjamas. What time is it?
Let me tell you.
Okay. No shame, clearly, either. 3:10 on a Saturday. She's still in her pyjamas.
I didn't think it was that late.
Oh, lazy days. Okay. So just wanted to share that, and I hope you're all well, and I'll catch up with you very soon.
Wait, what happens if you press that?
No, don't press.
I want to see what happens.
No, I don't know. I'm still in my 90. Look, you got the thumbs
So
up there,
am I.
Becky. There's actually nothing wrong with being in your 90. It's just my thoughts about it. My thoughts that I've asked her to do her homework 5 times already, and I've asked her to run herself a
went
bath
to
another
do
10
that.
times. So I'm starting to think maybe she should be listening to her mum instead of just ignoring me. But hey ho, she's having
I
a
should
nice
do
time,
my
aren't you?
homework. I am going to do my homework.
There we are. Okay, so to all of those of you still in your 90s, good on you. Okay, see you soon.